Honorable Don L. Abalon, and to be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem. Please rise.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, we come before you today as members of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan, acknowledging your sovereignty and grace. We seek your blessings upon these legislative proceedings, that it may be guided by truth, justice, and compassion. Grant us the wisdom to deliberate on matters of importance with fairness and impartiality. Help us to listen attentively, speak with clarity, and understand one another's viewpoints. May our decisions be guided by the principles of good governance and the welfare of our fellow citizens. Strengthen us with unity and collaboration, that we may be effective instruments of positive change. We entrust this gathering to your divine care. In your holy name we pray. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang mag-ibig, helas ang sinangalan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nanagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ng bagaw, ay hinatang tula, kawin sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang lang matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang ay di magtitindig, lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo, aming bigaya ng pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa
Ikaan mga Nortehanon, kasantuan ay mga ibabaw nun. Tugog kita simbang laong, saan ka ng Diyos gahong. Pagsarayo, panuruto kita, kabubuasun ka't kanta. Amay iro'y mataong laro, sa kahulog, diri magpadahon. Mga tuwin kita ni sumuroy, kung sa'yo natunang aliroy. Natuo kita sa kagawasan, kung hingyaan ka usnagay. Pagsarayo, pagbuto kita, kabubuasun ka't kanta. Kamay iro'y pagkauganon, sa kahulog diri magpadahon. Kamay iro'y pagkauganon, sa kahulog diri magpadahon. Kamay iro'y pagkauganon, sa kahulog diri magpadahon.
Si Secretary, Minopol Mall.
Honorable Dato, Honorable Abalon, Honorable Dubongco,
Present.
Honorable Isedra,
Present.
Honorable Galit, Honorable Giliamak, Honorable Laudenio, Honorable Lion, Honorable Lucero, Honorable Miranda, Honorable Saludaga, Honorable Silvano, Honorable Singzon, Honorable Uy. There are 8 members who are physically present. 2 members are present via Zoom. Total number of members present 10, including the presiding officer.
Thank you, Secretary. Considering that majority of the members are present, including two members participating in our session via Zoom, quorum is declared and session is formally open. Considering that the provincial vice governor is our acting governor, and obviously cannot preside over our session, and as provided in our internal rules, there is a need to elect a members present to to be our temporary presiding officer. Any nomination? The Honorable Lavenio is recognized. Please approach the person.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Respectfully nominating the Honorable Dexter Galit as our temporary presiding officer,
Any
Mr. Chair.
nomination? Other nomination? There being none, any second? Duly seconded. The Honorable Galit is nominated, and there is no other nomination. Therefore, the Honorable Minister Dexter Galit will be our temporary presiding officer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
In order to give clearance or pave the way for Honorable Galit to temporarily preside in the session, the chair hereby declared a 1 minute suspension.
Majority Leader, please.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. We now move on to the next item, Mr. Chairman, under item number 6, the committee reports. First, to render its committee report, we have the Committee on Social Services. Kindly please recognize the good chair of the said committee, the Honorable Don L. Abalon, Mr. Chairman.
The Chairman of the Committee, Honorable Don Avalon, Chairman of the Committee on Social Services, hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This pertains to the committee report on the proposed ordinance that this representation has sponsored. A proposed ordinance entitled An Ordinance Prohibiting the Mortgage, Pledge, or Pawning of Cash Cards and Other Government Assistance Documents for low-income families, imposing penalties for violations therefore, and for unauthorized use thereof, and for other purposes. The Committee on Social Services was tasked with reviewing the proposed ordinance aimed at prohibiting the mortgage, pledge, or pawning of cash cards and other documents associated with government assistance programs for low-income families. This committee report presents our findings and recommendations based on discussions, stakeholder consultations, and a review of relevant laws and policies. Many low-income families depend heavily on government assistance programs for basic needs. The risk of financial exploitation through predatory lending practices is significant, as these families may resort to pawning their cash cards for immediate cash needs. The National Advisory Council's Resolution Number 20, Series of 2014, prohibits beneficiaries of the Pantawid Pamilya Pilipino program from using cash cards as collateral. However, local enforcement mechanisms are lacking, leading to continued exploitation. The use of cash cards and government assistance documents as collateral perpetuates a cycle of debt that undermines the very purpose of assistance programs, which is to provide financial stability and support to family in distress. There is lack of awareness among the beneficiaries regarding their rights and legal protections against predatory lending practices. Local government units recognize the importance in promoting the welfare of their constituents, and this proposed ordinance is one of the programs that our provincial government can put in place to educate families about financial literacy and the implications of pawning. The committee adopts a modified version of the proposed ordinance by incorporating therein certain relevant measures, which version is hereby incorporated hereto by reference and made integral part of this committee report. This will strengthen the legal framework protecting low-income families from exploitation. This committee respectfully recommends that the Sangguniang Panlalawigan enacts the proposed ordinance. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any objection? There being none, the committee report as read by the chairman of the Committee on Social Services is hereby approved and adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and may I ask the Majority Floor Leader to calendar this measure for sponsorship, interpellation, and amendments in the next session.
The majority leader is Mr. Acted.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as requested, the proposed ordinance authored by the Honorable Don L. Abalon, an ordinance prohibiting the mortgage, pledge, or pawning of cash cards and other government assistance document for low-income families, imposing penalties for violations therefore, and for unauthorized use thereof, and for other purposes be calendared for sponsorship speech until the next session. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Any second? Any objection? There being none, the motion is hereby approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Still under the committee report, the next committee to render its committee report, we have the Committee on Laws, Justice, Human Rights, and Public Accountability. Again, Mr. Chairman, kindly recognize the good chair of the said committee, the Honorable Don L. Abalon, Mr. Chairman.
The chairman of the Committee on Laws, Justice, and Human Rights and Public Accountability, Honorable Don Abalon, is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Committee on Laws, Justice, Human Rights, and Public Accountability prepared a committee report which favorably recommended for the enactment. The proposed ordinance is sponsored by Board Member Lyon. However, on page 2 of the agenda, there is a letter of urgency from the Honorable Governor Edwin Marino Ongchuan, dated December 18, 2024, requesting the Sangguniang Panlalawigan for the enactment of the same ordinance. So we will defer the rendition of the committee report later to the time when this particular measure is called in relation to the letter of urgency, and we will just introduce as amendments the observations of the Committee on Laws, Justice, Human Rights, and Public Accountability. So we will just wait until the letter of urgency is called upon, Mr. Chair.
So Majority Leader?
So, Mr. Chairman, thank you, Honorable Abalon. May the good chairman move for its, make a proper motion for its deferment.
Yes,
Actually, Mr. Chair, we're not moving for the deferment of the committee report. We are deferring to the letter of urgency.
later on the agenda, on the part of the agenda.
Yes, which is a letter of urgency from the Honorable Governor Edwin Marino
So
Chuan.
if the body will agree with the suggestion of the chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
that letter of urgency supersedes the scheduled committee report, because with the letter of urgency, we can now integrate all discussions, and in fact we can even approve the proposed measure right then and there when the same is taken up.
Majority Leader.
So we will just wait until the same is considered, so that all the observations that are incorporated in the committee report will later on be introduced by this representation as proposed amendments to the ordinance.
What is the
Mr. Chairman, yes, I would like to rephrase my earlier statement, and now I understand the intention of our good chairman of the Committee on Laws, Justice, Human Rights, and Public Accountability, that the said ordinance be considered under the, later on under the other matters, while pending the
later of the
the letter of urgency coming from our which will be made available under the other matters, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
and I guess everyone agrees to the suggestion of the chairman of the committee. So we may proceed now.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Again,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I move, Mr. Chairman, that the consideration of the proposed ordinance sponsored by the Honorable Gilbert F. Lyon and the Honorable Gerald A. Miranda, an ordinance which is an ordinance regulating the access of minors to alcohol and penalizing establishment that furnish alcohol to minors, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, be considered under the other matters as explained by the good chairman of the Committee on Laws, Justice, and Human Rights, and Public Accountability. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Any second? Any second? So there is a motion, duly seconded. Is there an objection? There being none, the motion is hereby approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, before we proceed with the next item under the committee report, item small letter C, I move for the suspension of our session.
Motion suspended. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the last committee report, under item number 6, under item small letter C, kindly please recognize the good chair of the Committee on Tourism, Arts and Culture, the Honorable Albert A. Lucero, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Albert A. Lucero, Chairman of the Committee on Tourism, Arts and Culture, is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Committee on Tourism, Arts and Culture, to which was referred, proposed ordinance introduced by this representation entitled An Ordinance Enacting the 2024 Tourism Code of the Province of Northern Samar has considered the same and as the honor to report it back to this Sangguniang Panlalawigan with the recommendation to calendar the subject proposed ordinance for second reading for being in accordance with the pertinent laws, rules, and regulations without prejudice to the proposed amendments from this august body. I move for the adoption of this committee report, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any objection? There being none, the motion to calendar the proposed ordinance entitled the 2024 Tourism Code of Northern Samar is hereby approved.
Mr. Chairman,
Adopted.
before we move, before the chair could rule the motion of the good chairman, may I move for a 1-minute suspension?
1 minute suspension. Before we take a break, I will just reiterate my ruling of the motion. The committee report entitled An Ordinance Enacting the 2024 Tourism Code of Northern Samar, as ruled by the chair, is hereby calendared on second reading, and the committee report is approved. Again, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We now move on to the next item in the order,
Please proceed.
under order of business, item number 7, calendar of business. Under item is monitor A, review of municipal ordinances and resolution.
Yes, please proceed. Majority Leader. Sangguniang Bayan Resolution.
The next committee report scheduled to render is the Committee on Finance, Budget and Appropriations. Kindly please recognize the good chair, said committee, Honorable Don L. Abalan.
The chair of the committee is hereby recognized, Honorable Don L. Abalan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On behalf of the Committee on Finance, Budget and Appropriations, we have the honor to render our committee report on Sangguniang Bayan Resolution number 123, series of 2024 of the Municipality of San Roque. The subject resolution adopted the supplemental annual investment plan for calendar year 2024 of the Municipality of San Roque, modifying in effect the annual investment program for year 2024 by the inclusions of certain programs, projects, activities, and services that were not originally included in the EIP. The said supplemental annual investment plan was previously approved and endorsed to the Sangguniang Bayan by the Municipal Development Council pursuant to its MDC Resolution number 09, series of 2024. This committee submits that the supplemental annual investment plan and the enabling Sangguniang Bayan Resolution number 123, series of 2024 are both in substantial compliance with RA 7160, its implementing rules and regulations, and other pertinent laws, rules, and regulations. Hence, this committee submits that the same are valid and operative, subject to such conditions and provisions prescribed by existing laws, rules, and regulations. The local government unit concerned, however, is enjoined to ensure the provision and or availability of sufficient funds to carry out the programs, projects, and activities prescribed in the said supplemental investment program. Accordingly, this committee respectfully moves to pass a resolution adopting this committee report, declaring both the Sangguniang Bayan Resolution number 123, series of 2024 and the supplemental annual investment plan for calendar year 2024 of the Municipality of San Roque valid and operative, subject to the conditions and provisions mentioned herein and those prescribed by existing laws, rules, and regulations. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any objection? There being none, the committee report as read by the chairman of the Committee on Finance is hereby approved and adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, with the adoption of the committee report by the Committee on Budget and Appropriations, referring to Sangguniang Bayan Resolution number 123, series of 2024 of the Municipality of San Roque, Northern Samar, and in order to pave the way for its immediate consideration on third and final reading, so move for the temporary suspension of our internal rules. So move, Mr. Chairman.
There's a motion to suspend the rules. Any objection? There being none, the motion is approved. Rules suspended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, I move for the approval of a resolution on third and final reading, declaring both the Sangguniang Bayan Resolution number 123, series of 2024 and the supplemental annual investment plan for calendar year 2024 of the Municipality of San Roque, Northern Samar as valid and operative. So move, Mr. Chairman.
There's a motion as mentioned by the majority leader. Any objection? There being none, the motion is hereby approved on third and final reading.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, I still have the floor for one more committee report for the Committee on Finance, Budget, and Appropriations.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, kindly please again recognize the Honorable Abalan.
The chairman of the Committee on Finance is recognized, Honorable Don Abalan. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This pertains to Resolution number 083, series of 2024 of the Municipality of Catubig. The subject resolution approves the annual investment program for calendar year 2025 of the Municipality of Catubig with a total investment amounting to 4,588,353,214 pesos and 50 centavos for various programs, projects, and activities which are distributed in accordance with the data appearing on the committee report. The said annual investment program for calendar year 2025 was previously approved by the Municipal Development Council and endorsed to the Sangguniang Bayan pursuant to MDC Resolution Number 2, Series of 2024. This committee found the same to be in substantial compliance with RA 7160, as well as its implementing rules and regulations and other pertinent issuances by competent authorities, particularly that sufficient provisions have been made to cover the statutory obligations and mandatory expenditures, and concludes that there are no legal impediments for the same to be operative. The local government unit concerned, however, is enjoined to fully comply with the mandatory budgetary provisions in the actual implementation of the plan and to ensure the availability and or provision of sufficient funds to cover the programs, projects, activities, and services provided for in the said annual investment program. Accordingly, this committee respectfully moves to pass a resolution declaring Resolution Number 83, Series of 2024, and the Annual Investment Program AIP for calendar year 2025 of the Municipality of Catubig valid and operative in its entirety, subject to such conditions mentioned in the committee report, as well as those prescribed by existing laws, rules, and regulations. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
There's a motion, duly seconded, with regards to the committee report of the Committee on Finance, Budget, and Appropriation. Is there an objection? There being none, the motion is approved. The committee report regarding resolution number 083, 2024, Municipality of Catubig is approved and adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, with the adoption of the committee report by the Committee on Finance, Budget, and Appropriations, referring to resolution number 083, series of 2024 of the Municipality of Catubig, Northern Samar, and in order to pave the way for immediate consideration on the third and final reading, I so move for the temporary suspension of the internal rules of Sangguniang Panlalawigan. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Any second? Any objection? There being none, the motion of the Majority Leader to suspend the rules to pave way for the approval of the said ordinance as read by the Majority Leader is hereby approved. Rule suspended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, I move for the approval of a resolution on third and final reading, declaring resolution number 083, series of 2024 of the Municipality of Catubig, Northern Samar, valid and operative in its entirety, subject to the conditions mentioned in the committee report. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Approved on third and final reading. Resolution adopting the Municipal Development Council Resolution number 02 series of 2024 of the Municipality of Catubig, including the annual investment plan for calendar year 2024 of the said municipality is hereby approved on third and final reading. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We now move on to the next item in the order of business, which is item number 8, the privilege and question R. May we know from the members who would like to make use or to be recognized under the privilege and question R. And it seems, Mr. Chairman, that no members would like to be recognized or make use of item number 8, privilege and question hour. We now move on to the next item, which is the item number 9, ordinances scheduled on third and final reading. We have two items under item is Mr. A and B. For the first item, this is sponsored by the Honorable Lion, kindly please, and Honorable Albert Lucero, jointly with and co-sponsored by Honorable Gerardo Miranda. Kindly please recognize to make the motion, the proper motion, the Honorable Gilbert F. Lion, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Gilbert F. Lion, MD, the sponsor of the proposed ordinance is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of an ordinance sponsored by this representation and Honorable Albert Lucero and co-sponsored by Honorable Gerardo Gerard Miranda, entitled An Ordinance Institutionalizing the Mental Health Care Services in the Provincial Government of Northern Samar, establishing mechanism and guidelines for its implementation, adopting certain provision of the Republic Act number 11036 and appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, for the third and final reading. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
There's a motion duly seconded to approve an ordinance on third and final reading entitled an ordinance institutionalizing the mental health care services of the province of Northern Samar, establishing mechanism and guidelines for its implementation, adopting certain provisions from Public Act number 11036, and appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Any objection? Any manifestation? There being none, the said ordinance is approved in third and final reading.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Majority Leader,
Yes, Mr. Chairman. For under item small letter B, another ordinance is scheduled for third and final reading. Kindly please recognize the sponsor of the said ordinance, the Honorable Albert E. Lucero and the Honorable Gilbert F. Lyon, but to make the proper motion is the Honorable Albert A. Lucero, Mr. Chairman.
gentleman from Gamay, Honorable Albert Lucero, is recognized the sponsor of the said ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve on third and final reading an ordinance sponsored by this representation and Honorable Gilbert F. Lyon entitled An Ordinance Regulating the Use, Sale, Distribution, and Advertisement of Cigarettes and Other Tobacco Products, Electronic Nicotine and Non-Nicotine Delivery Systems, Heated Tobacco Products, and other novel tobacco products in certain places, imposing penalties for violations thereof, and providing funds therefore to instill health consciousness and for other purposes. So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any objection? There being none, an ordinance regulating the use, sale, distribution, advertisement of cigarettes and other tobacco products, electronic nicotine and non-nicotine delivery systems, heated tobacco products and other novel tobacco products in certain places, imposing penalties for violation thereof, and providing funds therefore to instill health consciousness and for other purposes is hereby approved on third and final reading.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and a manifestation relative to this approval, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed.
The Honorable Governor actually has requested this Sangguniang Panlalawigan on a letter dated December 18, 2024 for the enactment of the said approved ordinance relative to Mr. Chair, I believe this is about the alcohol, and also, Mr. Chair, thank you for the approval of this ordinance, which would help the health and the environment, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
The sponsor is smiling. Please proceed, Majority Leader. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Honorable Lucero. Mr. Chairman, before we proceed with the next item, which is the other matters, may I move for the suspension of our session?
Session suspended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we now move on to the next item in the order of business. Item number 10, other matters. Under item small letter A and B, kindly please direct the secretary to read the two letter of urgency coming from our provincial governor, Edwin Marino C. Ungchuan, Mr. Chairman.
The secretary is hereby directed to read the item as mentioned by the majority leader.
Office of the Governor, December 18, 2024. The presiding officer and the members of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan, Province of Northern Samar. Dear presiding officer and the ladies and gentlemen of the Sangguniang, pursuant to Section 21 of Republic Act Number 10121, otherwise known as the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act of 2010, I hereby certify the urgency of passing an ordinance reverting LDRRMF unexpended balance FY 2019 in the amount of 3,314,985 pesos and 84 centavos to the general fund and reappropriating the same for social services program. Source of fund, trust liabilities, DRRM, LDRRMF unexpended balance FY 2019 3,314,985 pesos and 84 centavos. Total amount for reversion to the general fund 3,314,985 pesos and 84 centavos. Use of fund, special purpose appropriations, Provincial Social Amelioration Program Basic Grant, PSAP-BG, 3,314,985 pesos and 84 centavos. Total use of fund, 3,314,985 pesos and 84 centavos. Attached is the certificate of availability of funds for your reference and guidance. Thank you for your prompt legislative action. Signed, Edwin Marinis Ungchuan, Governor.
Majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we proceed, may I move for a 1-minute suspension?
Suspension for 1 minute.
Nag-request
Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kindly please recognize the Honorable Abalon to sponsor the first letter of certified to as urgent coming from the provincial governor.
The Chairman of the Committee on Appropriation and Finance is recognized, Honorable Don Abalon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In relation to the letter dated December 18, 2024 of the Honorable Governor, Governor Edwin Marino Ongchuan, requesting the Sangguniang Panlalawigan to enact an ordinance reverting the total amount of 3,314,985 pesos and 84 centavos from the LDRRM Fund unexpended balance fiscal year 2019 to the general fund and appropriating the same for special purpose appropriations under Provincial Social Amelioration Program Basic Grant, which is one of the social services programs of the provincial government. And with that, Mr. Chair, may I request the majority floor leader to recognize the provincial accountant to explain further to us the rationale for the utilization of the LDRRM Fund of 2019 for the purpose for which this ordinance is enacted. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any objection? There being none, the motion of the Chairman of the Committee on Finance is approved. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, with the manifestation of the good chairman of the Committee on Finance, Budget and Operation, for Attorney Grace to be recognized, kindly please recognize Attorney Grace Sabong, Mr. Chairman. Royo.
Attorney Grace Sabong Royo, our provincial accountant, is recognized. Please approach the rostrum.
Good morning.
Yung laptop tanggal na doon. Big laptop. Hindi makita siya. Yan. Okay. Madam Grace, please proceed.
The amount of 3,314,985 pesos and 84 centavos refers to the unexpended balance of the LDRIM Fund for fiscal year 2019. This is the unexpended balance, which is where there are no other PPAs that are pending for payment or for processing for payment, or there are no other claims for this particular amount.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And may I just like to
Yes.
ask one or two questions?
Please, please proceed, Honorable Abalon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Madam Accountant, is it my understanding with what you said that this amount of 3,314,985 pesos, 84 centavos will not be utilized anymore for the remainder of the year 2024, which is today is the last working day, but we have 3 other holidays, three more days that are non-working. So from now until the end of the year, there are no more charges to this fund.
Yes, Your Honor, there are no more, charges or any obligations that, or any items for obligation that were submitted to the Provincial Budget Office or to the accounting office for processing, which is to be charged under this particular fund for fiscal year 2019.
So we can utilize this amount now. We can utilize this amount now for an appropriation ordinance that could revert that to the general fund.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all.
So, thank you, Attorney Grace. Thank you, Honorable Avalon. So I guess everyone is enlightened with regards to this urgent ordinance already. So, Majority Leader,
Mr. Chair, with the clarification made by the provincial accountant, I reiterate my earlier motion to enact an ordinance reverting the total amount of 3,314,985 pesos 84 centavos from the LDRRM Fund unexpended balance fiscal year 2019, reverting the same to the general fund and reappropriating the same for social services program under special purpose appropriations, provincial social amelioration basic grant. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
any objection? There being none, ordinance reverting LDRMF unexpended balance for fiscal year 2019 in the amount of 3,314,980 pesos and 84.84 centavos to the general fund and reappropriating the same for the social services program is hereby approved in third and final reading.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, the Sangguniang Panlalawigan would like to thank Attorney Grace for appearing and do the explanation regarding the manifestation of Honorable Abalon concerning the first letter of urgency coming from the provincial governor. And with this, Mr. Chair, I move that Attorney Grace be excused from our session. So move, Mr. Chairman.
The motion is duly seconded. The motion is hereby approved. 1 minute suspension. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I believe that there's another letter certified as urgent. Kindly please recognize our secretary to read the second letter certified to as urgent.
The secretary is directed to read as requested.
Office of the Governor, December 18, 2024. Honorable Attorney Clarence E. Dato, the Presiding Officer and Vice Governor, and the members of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan Province of Northern Samar. Dear Vice Governor Dato and the ladies and gentlemen of the Sangguniang, I hereby certify the urgency of passing an ordinance regulating the access of minors to alcohol and penalizing establishments that furnish alcohol to minors, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. This ordinance aims to eliminate alcohol abuse and reduce underage drinking by regulating the access of minors to alcohol. Attached is a letter from the Provincial Health Office for your reference. Thank you for your immediate legislative action. Signed, Edwin Marino Siong Chuan, Governor.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, to sponsor the ordinance as certified to as urgent, kindly please recognize the good chairman of the Committee on Health, the Honorable Gilbert F. Lyon, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Gilbert F. Lyon, Chairman of the Committee on Health, is hereby recognized.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. Considering that there is a letter of urgency from the Honorable Governor Edwin Marino Siong Chuan, dated December 18, 2024, requesting the Sangguniang Panlalawigan for the enactment of an ordinance regulating the access of minors to alcohol and penalizing establishment that furnish alcohol to minors, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Earlier this morning, however, Mr. Chairman, the Chairman of Committee of Laws has Committee of Laws, Justice and Human Rights and Public Accountability has manifested several things on this particular ordinance. Mr. Chairman, kindly the majority floor leader.
Mr. Chairman, as requested by, as mentioned by the good sponsor, the Honorable Abalon would like to make some manifestation. With this, kindly please recognize the Honorable Abalon, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Abalon is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Based on the prepared committee report of the Committee on Laws, Justice, Human Rights, and Public Accountability, we have certain items in the proposed ordinance that we propose to be amended, and if the proponent would yield, may I cite them one at a time, Mr. Chair. On Section 1, which is the title, may I propose that the title, that Section 1 be amended to read as follows. Section 1, title, this ordinance shall be known and cited as the Anti-Alcohol Drinking for Minors Ordinance of Northern Samar. In the original version, Mr. Chair, it is stated underage. Now, legally, we have certain classifications of ages, and even in government programs, we have the under 5, we have the age of legal accountability, which is about 9 and 15, and then we have the age of majority, which is about 18. So to clear this up once and for all, that at one glance, the reader of the ordinance can immediately ascertain that what we are referring here are the minors, those who are under 18 years of age. Then I propose that the word underage be replaced with minors.
Mr. Chairman, I yield to the proposed amendment of the good gentleman from San Roque.
So the amendment is the sponsor agreed to the amendment. Kindly note.
Hindi na, kaya accept.
Kindly note the amendment, Mr. Secretary. Yes, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On Section 3, lines 64 to 68 of page 2, the definition of alcohol. I was just worried, Mr. Chair, because as the word alcohol is defined in the proposed ordinance, it is so very broad that we might have a situation later on that a minor cannot buy from this store even a rubbing alcohol. So I propose to modify the definition of alcohol. This definition is taken from Republic Act 10586, otherwise known as the Anti-Drunk and Drug Driving Act of 2013. And may I read the proposed definition. Alcohol for purposes of this ordinance is any intoxicating beverage that contains alcohol and is capable of intoxication when consumed in sufficient quantity with a minimum alcohol content of at least 0.5% by volume. It refers to alcoholic beverages classified into beer, wine, and distilled spirits, the consumption of which produces intoxication. If the sponsor would yield, Mr. Chair, I move for the amendment of the definition of alcohol, as I have stated.
Mr. Chairman, on line number 70, there is on item number 3, alcoholic beverages shall refer as liquor, brew, containing alcohol as an active agent. Shall we also remove this portion?
If it's alcoholic beverage, Mr. Chair, then we do not have any, I do not have any, this representation does not have any concern with that, Mr. Chair. So it can be retained. What I'm just worried about is the alcohol products that are not for consumption, that are not for drinking, just for external use, Mr. Chair.
So, is the sponsor amenable with the...
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield to the proposed amendment of identifying the alcohol on section 3, item number 2, as proposed by the Chairman of the Laws and Human Rights.
Yes, kindly note the amendment, Mr. Secretary. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And another item on section 5, there is a phrase, lines 118 to 119 on page 3. All public and private elementary, secondary, and collegiate schools. We propose, Mr. Chair, that the same be substituted with the phrase, all learning and or educational institutions and or facilities. Because this might not include the TESDA accredited schools, Mr. Chair, because they are technical and they are not covered by whether elementary, secondary, or collegiate. So to encompass all educational institutions, Mr. Chair, we are introducing an amendment, we are proposing an amendment that it should be all learning. We can retain that phrase as long as we add this phrase, and all learning and or educational institutions and or facilities.
the sponsor?
Again, Mr. Chairman, I yield to the proposed amendment.
Yes, please proceed,
Of
Honorable Abanon.
the, Honorable.
Sponsor is amenable with the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This may be self-serving for me now at this moment, but this will apply to other members of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan later on, who will be the chairman of the Committee on Social Services. I move, Mr. Chair, if the proponent will yield, to include the chairman or the chairperson of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan Committee on Social Services as member of the Provincial Council for the Protection of Children.
Is that a motion? Is that an amendment?
Mr. Chairman, again, I yield to the proposed amendment of the good gentleman from
Okay.
Municipality
Mr.
of
Secretary,
Samar.
kindly note the amendment introduced by Honorable Abalon as the author agreed with the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Now, on lines 182 to 188 on page 4, still on section 9, the private sector representatives are identified as to what are the organizations. Rather, Mr. Chair, this representation would rather suggest that the provincial governor be given the authority to appoint and or designate private sector representatives. So accordingly, lines 182 to 188 should be deleted and replaced by the following amendment, if the good sponsor will yield. Private sector representatives comprising of 7 members appointed by the provincial governor from among the nominees submitted by the different youth organizations or youth-serving organizations.
Mr. Chairman, to clarify, from the provincial supervisor of the Plan Philippines up to the
Yes,
youth
Mr. Chair, the last 7 items.
7 items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So from the provincial supervisor of Plan Philippines and the youth organization, 2 youth organization recommended by PYDO should be replaced to the private sector's representative comprising of 7 members appointed by the provincial governor from among whom the nominees submitted by the different youth organization or youth-serving organization.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, with that, I move that the last 7 items of the members of the council should be replaced with the proposed amendment of our gentleman from the Honorable Don L. Abalon.
So is that a motion? Any objection? There being none, the motion of the sponsor of the ordinance is approved as he mentioned.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On Section 11, Paragraph 1, lines 211 to 221 on pages 4 to 5, I move to modify this particular provision with the following. This ordinance shall be for the protection of children. No penalty shall be imposed on children for any violation committed under this ordinance, and instead such children shall be brought to the residence or to any barangay official at the barangay hall where they shall be released to the custody of their parents. The Provincial Social Welfare and Development Office shall provide appropriate intervention programs. The child shall be recorded as a child at risk and not as a child in conflict with the law. In addition to such intervention programs that the PSWD shall provide, it shall also provide counseling and/or attendance in group activities for children, and the parents and/or guardians shall undergo parenting education seminars. Mr. Chair, this proposed provision that will replace the original version in paragraph 1, section 11 of the proposed ordinance is in conformity with section 57-A of Republic Act 9344 as amended by Republic Act 1060, Mr. Chair. We cannot impose penalty on children for violation of local ordinances.
Mr. Chairman, again,
Yes.
I yield that the entire paragraph, section 11 penalties sa number 1, the entire paragraph should be replaced as proposed by Honorable Don Abalon.
So the author agreed with the proposal of the...
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, so please proceed, Honorable Abalang.
Thank you.
Can denote the amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One last more item. Section 11, paragraph 2, line 226 on page 5. May we move for the deletion of that particular item, Mr. Chair, because I believe that it is already beyond the power of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan to impose the penalty of revocation of business permit. The power to suspend or revoke business licenses or permits is lodged with the municipal mayor as provided by section 444, paragraph B, subparagraph 3 of RA 7160, which can be done if there is a violation or non-compliance by the grantee of the requirements set forth by law or ordinance for its issuance. If the municipality will provide as a condition in the grant of the license the compliance of provincial ordinances, then that can be a ground already for the revocation. But we cannot, as a provincial government, we cannot impose certain conditionalities for the revocation of business licenses, Mr. Chair. So I move for its deletion.
Mr. Chairman, but on this particular item, there is also for the third offense and suspension or revocation of business permit depending on the discretion of the court. So it's not the Sangguniang or the province that will be revoking the licenses or the operation of that particular store who violated this ordinance. But however, it should be the court on this particular ordinance.
Mr. Chair, if we go over the powers of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan in imposing penalties, we are limited to only 2 types of penalties: the imposition of fines and the imposition of imprisonment. There is nothing in the local government code that will allow the Sangguniang Panlalawigan to impose the penalty of revocation. The the section that I cited earlier, section 444, paragraph B, so paragraph 3 is very specific as to the authority of the municipal mayor to grant or revoke, suspend, cancel business permits and licenses. So the local government code is specifically granted the particular authority to the municipal mayor, Mr. Chair.
The sponsor.
Mr. Chairman, if, however, can we put, or additional to this provision, that depending on or the discretion of the municipal mayor of that particular, depending on the discretion of the municipal mayor instead of the court?
There is no discretion, Mr. Chair. The conditionality for the revocation of a business license is when it is a condition provided for in the grant of the business license. So, for example, when the business license is issued by the municipality, by the municipal mayor to a particular business establishment, and one of the conditionalities is there must be no violation of any ordinances, whether provincial, municipal, or barangay, then when a violation is committed, then that will now become discretionary on the part of the mayor, whether or not to cancel the business permit.
So the revocation will depend
It has to be
on the
it has to be imposed as a condition in the municipality concerned where the business permit is issued.
so he cannot the chief executive cannot revoke unless there are rules that is violated in the conditions violated.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr.
So-
Chairman, again, with the clarification of the Honorable Don L. Abalon regarding this matter, I yield to the amendment proposed by the good gentleman.
So thank you, Honorable Lion. Honorable Abalon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And finally, one more final request is that I be included as among the co-authors of the proposed ordinance, Mr. Chair.
Mr.
So, Honorable
Chairman,
Lion, are you amenable
yes,
with the
of course. It's always
sound
be an
petition?
honor to be Don Abalon as a co-author.
Yeah,
of
with
this,
that amendments, I guess it's just proper to include the gentleman from San Roque.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Board Member Lyon.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
as
thank you, Honorable Don
we
Abalon.
now manifest my motion. Mr. Chairman, I move that we pass an ordinance as with the letter of urgency by the governor and amended by, as amended.
Fine
The
tune
third
by-
and final reading, an ordinance entitled Anti-Alcohol Drinking for Minors Ordinance of Northern Samar. I so move, Mr. Chair.
So, the motion is duly seconded. Any objection? There being none, the ordinance entitled
Alcohol drinking.
Anti-Alcohol Drinking
For
Ordinance of
minors.
the Province of Northern Samar is approved on third and final reading,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
as fine-tuned by Honorable Abalon. Of the record. That's of the record. This is Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We now proceed with, actually we are still under item number 10, other matters. Under item small letter C, Mr. Chairman, before I proceed with item small letter C, may we inquire from the Secretary if there are other items considered as urgent coming from the provincial governor?
Mr. Secretary.
There are still 4 urgent letter requests from the governor, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you, Secretary. With this, Mr. Chairman, kindly direct the Secretary to read the first of the 4 letters certified to as urgent, Mr. Chairman.
The secretary is directed to read as requested.
Office of the Governor, December 26, 2024. The presiding officer and the members of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan, Province of Northern Samar. Dear presiding officer and ladies and gentlemen of the Sangguniang, I hereby certify the urgency of passing a resolution approving and adopting the 2025 Annual Development Plan for Culture and the Arts of the Province of Northern Samar. This plan significantly embodies the province's culture and the arts development initiatives, including strategies and priority activities scheduled for implementation in 2025. Attached is the 2025 Annual Development Plan for Culture and the Arts for your reference. Thank you for your immediate legislative action. Edwin Marino Seongchuan, Governor, signed by Attorney Clarence E. Dato, Acting Governor.
Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, kindly please recognize the Honorable Albert A. Lucero, Chairman on Tourism, Arts and Culture, to consider the the urgent request of coming from the provincial governor through Attorney Clarence E. Dato to sponsor a resolution as requested.
The Chairman of the Committee on Tourism, Culture and Arts, Honorable Lucero, is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in the attached letter, Mr. Chairman, is the proposed resolution. Actually, Mr. Chairman, as a manifestation, as a backgrounder, this 2025 Culture and the Arts Annual Development Plan has some kind of a revision when it comes to PPAs from the 2024 Development Plan for Culture and the Arts, Mr. Chairman. And of course, the cover letter of the Governor. So because of this, Mr. Chairman, I move that we pass a resolution approving and adopting the 2025 Annual Development Fund for Culture and the Arts of the Province of Northern Samar. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any objection? There being none, the resolution adopting the
2025 Annual Development Plan.
2025 annual
Development for Culture and
Development.
the Arts.
Plan of the Culture and the Arts of the Province of Northern Samar is hereby approved in third and final reading.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, kindly please direct the secretary to read the next
Secretary,
urgent item.
kindly read the next urgent request from the Governor.
Office of the Governor, December 26, 2024. The presiding officer and the members of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan, Province of Northern Samar. Dear presiding officer and ladies and gentlemen of the Sangguniang, I hereby certify the urgency of passing a resolution to request the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, NHCP, to establish and install a historical marker at the Batag Island Lighthouse located on Batag Island, Laoang, Northern Samar. This lighthouse is recognized as an important cultural property duly protected under Republic Act number 10066. The declaration of the Batag Island Lighthouse as a national